When I was growing up, actually, my dad, he's so obsessed with the Wolves, he wanted to buy a season ticket, but didn't have the money because, he had 3 young kids at home, and if he would have spent his money on a season ticket, my mom would have thrown him out. So my dad had a huge problem to solve. How do I get to see every football game that the Wolves are going to play for this season, home and away, without spending any money? But not only that, how do I get front row seats? And how do I meet the players as well? Now, my dad is a very creative individual. So, of course, he decides, I'm going to be Wolfie, the football mascot. And yes, that is him doing his air guitar. Caught it on video. Look at him. He's having a lovely time. He made a bloody good mascot, actually, I have to admit. He's a great mascot. Look at him, loving life. The reason I share this story with you is because I have been raised in a family that believes in something. Education teaches us to find one right answer to any given problem. 1 + 1 = 2, a single source of truth. But me and my family, we believe something else. We believe that creativity turns a problem into possibilities. It requires you to look far beyond logic. And I know I'm in a strategy agency conference, so I'm so sorry about that. But it does. It requires you to play. Because when you play, you make new discoveries. And when you make new discoveries, you create value. And I think this is really important and something that we've already started talking about today. And I really want to dig into what that looks like for us in modern marketing. Which is why I've brought this presentation to you. I mean, as an agency, as clients, as creatives, we know that our industry is so saturated. It is so noisy, And there's a lot of shit out there. Let's be honest about it. Not from here, obviously. But it really is our job to cut through the noise. And I think that's something that we can all really start to think about. How do we cut through the noise? Who's a creative in here? So whose job is it to come up with ideas? My soul sisters and brothers. Okay, I see you. Yes, Shingy, I know you're creative. Look at you. How annoying is it when you come up with a great idea and you take it to the client and they say, oh, it's really good, but just need you to think outside the box a little bit more. And you're like, oh, it's a dagger to my heart because I really thought I had thought outside the box. It's annoying, right? But do you know what, guys? I don't think it's enough for us to think outside the box anymore. I kind of want to bin that phrase. I really don't think it's enough, and I think it's far too demure as a statement. I think we're moving forward now. We need to get a little bit more aggressive with our creativity. We've got to break the damn box. That's what we've got to do. And I'll tell you why I think we have to break it and not just think outside of it. I love this quote by Seth Godin, godfather of marketing, in my opinion, humble opinion. He says, if you run everything through a spreadsheet, you may end up with a rational plan. I'm sorry, Russell. I know this might cut deep for you. But a rational plan is not what creates energy or magic or memories. And I wanted to tell you the Wolfie story because for me, that whole problem-solving exercise from my dad when I was a little kid was like energy and magic and memories. And now I tell that story for years. Like, epic story. I sound like Andy now. Everything's epic. But it's true. Now, as Andy alluded to, I worked at Gymshark for a good amount of time, and the number one question I get asked is, what's the secret sauce? What makes Gymshark the athleisure brand that everybody's talking about? What is it about Gymshark? Now, I can tell you categorically from being there for 5, 6 years that Gymshark is built on energy and magic and memories. When you walk in that HQ, there is an electric energy that you do not feel in other brands. I don't know if I can describe it particularly, but I know that I wanted to go there every day and just create my best work. It just felt like we were all just in it together. A bunch of young people who, quite frankly, didn't know what the fuck we were doing, and we just put our heads together and we made it work. We just made it work because we had so much passion. Sure, we had data, sure, we had insight, but did we let that govern the work we did? No. In fact, multiple times we turf it completely out the window and go with our gut feeling. That gut feeling wasn't always right, but isn't that the point? That you learn through doing? And now I see some amazing brands that are following in some very similar footsteps and really getting the talkability going. So Surreal, has everybody heard of Surreal? Like the protein cereal brand? They are just absolutely flying at the moment because they're so courageous with the work they put out, and you just get a sense of personality from them that you don't really get from Kellogg's, for example. They're really trying to do something a bit different here, but it feels very, very authentic. Of course, I could not talk about disruption without talking about our favorite water brand. I mean, it's water, for God's sake, and they are creating ads like this. I don't know if you've seen this one, by the way, Liquid Death. They designed a golf club that you can pee into. I don't know, it is a real thing, you can buy it. I haven't, but I think it's for men anyway. They are just so wild with their creative. It gives me confidence. And as I know, when you do anything with confidence, you can convince a lot of people of a whole lot of things. So yeah, I freaking love Liquid Death. But how are these brands actually doing it? Because it's all very well me telling you, go break the box, go have some fun, put your personality in. But what does that look like as a business and as a team that are trying to do something together? Well, in the 1960s, a guy called Edward de Bono coined the phrase lateral thinking. I'm sure you've heard the word lateral before. You could argue it's kind of the opposite to being literal. But he said this: you cannot dig a hole in a different place by digging the same hole deeper. Which I think is pretty much the epitome of what today is all about. But for us at Gymshark, we used to say this. This is a Levi ad from the 80s. When the world zig, zag. So we used to say this all the time. Like when everyone goes left, we go right. And this isn't about being different for difference sake necessarily. This is about being okay with being a black sheep. And you know, in a world of social media and trends, there is far too much mediocrity out there and not enough confidence to just do something a little bit different. So I think that black sheep there are your Gymsharks, are your Liquid Deaths, are your Surreals, and all the other brands that are doing things differently, but in their own way. So Edward de Bono said there's 3 ways that you can start to practice to be a little bit more lateral. So the first one being to focus on overlooked aspects. This might sound kind of boring, but we all know what it's like when you get your brief and you have a look and everybody's sort of like, you know, pushing things around this page over here. So we're all looking over here and we're like, yeah, okay, we know what we got to do. Thanks for the brief. Or what's the problem? Okay, yeah, there's your problem. But while everybody else is looking over here, you've got to be the curious bugger that goes over there. Because over there is something that people haven't bothered to look at because they made an assumption about what that thing was and didn't think it was necessary. But that's where the magic is happening. You've literally got to go over there. That's why when the world zigs, you zag. And a bit more on that idea of challenging assumptions. I am a huge challenger. I'm like the annoying kid that when the brief comes in, I'm like, why? And everyone's like, just fuck off. That's me, because I believe that challenging is really where we make the revelations. Do you know what I mean? And to challenge means you have to be okay with being challenged. That took me a long time to get used to, I cannot lie. As a creative, my ego got bruised, like people saying, why do you think that's the right idea? But you do have to get used to that back and forth and create an environment that allows challenge, invites challenge, and actually encourages challenge. And none of us go home crying because someone didn't like our idea. That's where progression happens. And the third way that Edward de Bono coined for lateral thinking was seek alternatives. Now, we all know that we're very often tied for time and for money on our projects in comparison to the creative ideas that we want to get live. But the thing is, no matter what we come up with, there are always alternatives. With creativity, as I said at the start, there's no single one way to do this. There are endless possibilities. It's our job to discover what those possibilities actually are and present those back. And then maybe as a team, we can come together and say, yeah, like we thought we were going to go down that direction, but actually something really exciting going on over here. And Edward, you did a great job, but I put a fourth in because it's me. So my fourth point about lateral thinking is to be human. And I don't want that to sound cliche, but genuinely, when I think about all the cool brands that are doing cool shit, and when I think about my experience in Gymshark and the brands that I've been at afterwards, this idea in a social media age of thinking, why do I care about this project? And why would other people care about this project? I've been in far too many creative rooms where we're talking about an idea and everybody seems a little bit like nonchalant about it. Like, oh yeah, I just need to get this one done. But if you don't care about your own idea and your own work, it's going nowhere, literally nowhere. Not from the room, nobody else is going to get inspired, and beyond the room for the people that you're even trying to market to, especially on social media. So you really have to get good at any idea you have, at thinking, why would I care and why would people care about this? Do we want to do this work or not? That's a really good sign, if everybody's saying yes. So then we end up in this world of divergence. This is where I like to play up here in these with these ping pong balls at the top with the other creatives. And we have a lovely time. We used to say at Gymshark, what's the idea that will get you fired? That's what we said. You don't want to know some of them, not worth repeating. They didn't make it out the door. But that's the point. We still had the ideas, and we still humored the ideas. And we had a bloody good time up there. We didn't stick down there in the world that everybody thinks they need to be. We went up and explored into space. I'm selling my brainstorms, aren't I? I sound like so much fun, but I mean, I am. So yeah, this is what we need to start looking at. And if all else fails and you've tried this lateral thing and it ain't working for you, just get in the shower. Because I swear to you as a creative, that's where all the good ideas come. And there must be some science behind this. It's like holy water, just, yeah. The thing with lateral thinking is it is a skill you can learn. So I don't want anyone to say to me, yeah, Joe, you're a creative though, it comes natural to you. It doesn't, and it didn't, and it still won't in the future. But it's only a skill you can learn by doing things. You can't learn it by sitting with a sketch pad and having a little think to yourself. Which is exactly the reason why I say break the box. Do not think outside the box, because you're still in thinking mode. There's only so far you can go by thinking. But an act of doing changes the game. Design Thinking 101, I hate the word thinking in there, I'm sorry, but it's what it's called. It's an iterative process. You have a hypothesis, you have an idea, you test, you learn, you iterate, you do it again. And you keep doing this until you can finesse something and come up with some really cool shit. But you don't get that result through just thinking about it and talking about it and over-engineering it. You kind of just got to get good at getting really messy. So just go try some stuff, okay? That's basically what I want you to do. Because if you can get really good at trying some stuff, you can take your marketing campaigns from things like this into things like this. Do we all remember this? Yeah, it did the rounds, didn't it, online? People started copying it. Your store hoarding could transfer from this to this. And I don't know if anybody saw this in real life on Oxford Street, but it's very impactful. I remember turning that corner and just being like, wow, that's a way to announce that you're moving in soon, isn't it? And your digital marketing, you can turn that, who were field roast anyway, to that. Who's enjoying a bright summer, by the way? I'm having a great time. Okay, so what I've just explained to you probably does look like carnage. And if I'm honest with you, there's going to be some sensible Sallys in the room that think I'm the worst person ever, because I'm basically saying creatives should take over, put a slide in the office, have ice cream for breakfast, all that sort of stuff, which we would if we could. But there is a way to identify what a good idea looks like and to bring it back down to earth and actually make it work, okay? It's this idea of converging again. So this is where we need the sensible Sallys and Simons, okay? We need you now, because we're like helium balloons as creatives. If you let us go, you won't see us again. So we actually do need you to bring us back down to earth. So we have crazy ideas. We have the ideas that will get us fired. We've really gone for it. And now we need to be pulled back down to earth. And there's a few ways I have identified from brands that are killing it. Things to look out for. Relatability. Now, I'm from very social native brands, so this is definitely right up there for a mark of success in your crazy, wacky, cool ideas. Do you remember this piece of work? Boobs everywhere. Adidas were like, right, how can we advertise our sports bras? I know, we won't show any sports bras. What we'll actually do is be human. Why would people care? We'll show all different boobs, all different sizes, all different ethnicities. We'll just show everyone the reality, the relatable reality of the situation. The ASA hated this. It got banned pretty much straight away. But it had a ripple effect. And brands started to latch on and copy the work. And it went very, very viral. So in terms of brand awareness for Adidas, 10 out of 10, success. And I would assume they sold a few sports bras off the back of this too. Good looks like talkability. I don't even know if this is a proper word, but it's a word I say all the time. It kept spell checking it for me, and I was like, talkability, it's a word. I had to refer to the queen of talkability for this one. And it appears I have an obsession with boobs today. That was not intentional, I'm sorry. Kim Kardashian and her nipple bra. Did you see this when it went live? Please tell me. This deck gets weirder, so if you think I'm strange now, stick with me. The nipple bra went live, and it sold out straight away. I thought it was an April Fool's. I was like, what is she doing? Sold out straight away. So popular and talkable, earned media was insane that she relaunched it, and it sold out again. So in the ideas, the crazy idea phase, where somebody was like, right, let me pull that idea back down to earth, this is a talkable idea. Let's get the PR team in, because we think this has got headlines about it. I'd say from my point of view as a woman, the headlines are kind of steering towards the fact that we're kind of told to not have our nipples on show, but Kim Kardashian is like, nah, screw that. Come on, girls, let's just show them off. I don't know. Good looks like shareability. Social media, you have to come up with ideas that people are going to share. You have to. It's the only way you're going to get that virality and get people talking about you. I told you this gets weirder. Does anybody seen Sylvanian drama on TikTok? I can't be the only one, guys. Come on. Thank you. I don't know if you're lying, but thank you for saving me there. Right, you all need to check it out. That's your homework. So who had Sylvanian families when they were little then? Okay, thank you. Yeah, a few more people. So somebody, some genius, decided to dig out their Sylvanian families, film them, and create the weirdest storylines. When I say weird, they're quite dark, actually. These videos on TikTok are getting 20 million views a video. And as far as metrics go, that's pretty insane, like wild. So there's a few smart brands that are like, yeah, we don't want to spend $500,000 on a TV ad, actually. We're just going to partner with Sylvanian Drama. And Hilton were an example of a brand that did it. This did really well, this video. Doesn't show the metrics, but it did. Consistency. Now, creatives, we're like magpies, okay? We have the crazy carnage idea, Sylvanian dramas, get all excited, and then we're like, ooh, shiny toy, and we're over there. Consistency is so important, okay? We need people in the team that are really stable and consistent. I got raised by wolves, so quite clearly that's not me, but someone else out there would be consistent. When you have a good idea and you repeat that idea, that's when you start to cut through the noise. So it's not enough to just put, I mean, if just one Sylvanian drama family went out, everyone would be like, who's the crazy in the corner, and move on. But because the entire TikTok channel is filled of these wild storylines that we can all invest into, like a soap opera, I think that's what's really helped it cut through the noise. Oatly are another brilliant example of this, in their brand design, in their language, their tone of voice. So they create this brand world with this big bubble text and this kind of quirky, sarcastic copywriting and their pack shot. And then they started putting it on out of home. So you'd see it on a bus stop, and then you'd see it on a mural, and then you'd see it on a billboard. And they'd take a photo of it, and then they'd chuck it on LinkedIn. And then it would go viral. So it's like the doubleness of out of home online, and it's shareable and it's talkable. But they didn't just do it once or twice. If you see anything of Oatly, it's this exact same formula. And I don't know about you, but it's the only oat milk that I actually know by name for the brand now, because it's so identifiable. And guys, I aim to please you. Cucumber Boy. Has anybody seen Cucumber Boy? This is quite new. Right, we've got to, let's talk, because I feel like our algorithms on TikTok are serving. Cucumber, right, you laugh. This guy is so famous now online because, and I watched a lot of these videos just to sense check this. He starts every single video the exact same way. His name's Logan. And he says, sometimes you just want to eat a whole cucumber. I'm going to show you the best way to do it. Even to the point of him like pointing the cucumber at you. Like, I'm going to show you the best way to do it. These videos, he's in the millions. Like, I would assume that Tupperware brands all across the world are begging him to collaborate. We can learn a lot from creators, is what I'm telling you. Creators that know their platforms and they know modern marketing. They know how to do it organically. You don't have to spend all your budget on paid. These guys follow what they do because they're nailing it. And they're not nailing it by talking about the idea. They're nailing it by doing it again and again and again. They're getting good at what they do. Alas, Cucumber Boy. So, okay, this all sounds great, right? Like, creativity is the best thing ever, and then we've got Sensible Sallys that are going to like help us out and make it all good. But there obviously are challenges to this. And the first challenge that everybody throws in my direction is time and budget. Like, yeah, Joe, you're in your la-la land. We don't have the time, and we do not have the budget for your crazy ideas. But do you think that Aldi needed time and budget to create the internet's best debate that I have ever seen? No, I'm going to answer the question for you. They did not need time and budget. Someone somewhere was like, let's just give this a go. Let's ruffle some feathers. What's the idea that's going to get me fired? And here we go. A lot of media from this entire PR stunt. Do you think that Jess from Thursday Dating need time and budget to create this piece of content where she handcuffed herself to a lamppost for cuffing season to advertise the new dating app, and she's up against the Tinders and the Bumbles, and I know Jess, I know that this was a real low-key piece of work. She went so viral and got Thursday Dating app a shit ton of publicity from this. This isn't time and budget issues, okay? Anyone seen this? I'm looking at you, my friends. You've seen it. Think I love you. Yeah, this is not a time and budget issue. This guy is a real estate agent in America. Now, we know, our American friends, there's a whole lot of real estate going on. It's a tough nut to crack. So the Gen Z employee was like, no, I've got an idea for us. Right? I mean, time and budget, my ass. Also, this, when it went out online, everybody's copying it. The amount of brands and companies I've seen creating videos like this. How cool that you start a trend that's that random. Literally, when I came down yesterday, Currys put one out. The Currys have done one, if Gen Z scripted our new product launch, and this Currys team members go around the store and like just talk, like the Gen Z script is hilarious. Like everything's slay and like, I'm clearly a millennial, so you should see where my socks are up on my leg. It's crazy. If you know, you know. No, time and budget is not an issue, actually. I think the real issue is the mindset. We're creatives. We're very much in our own heads, okay? So I task you, in this new brand direction and all the exciting things that you're going to go on to do, I task you with this. Whenever anybody in your office says, we can't do that, I want you to flip it and say, how might we? Okay? Just try it. When they say, we've tried that before, not into it, you've got to be able to bounce back with what if. Yeah, we did try it, but what if something different happened this time? When they say that will never work, I hear this one a lot, that will never work. I mean, imagine pitching Sylvanian drama and the bloody Gen Z guy. That will never work. You have got to go back with it could if we. And that fear of failure that I know everyone has, to just test and learn some content, just put some random shit out there and just see what happens, that iterative process, the break in the box, I know it's really, really scary. Trust me, I still feel it. But we really have to just understand that failure isn't the end of the world. Failure is a fully justified venture. That for reasons beyond our control, it just did not succeed. I also want you to remember that failure is only failure if you don't take a learning from it. So book the debriefs in, so you can actually talk about why this didn't work. But it is a fully justified venture, because talking is just not enough anymore. Okay, now I am aware that I've talked a lot about social media, because that's my home, my homeland. But I did want to just touch on the fact that this can very much be a way of thinking for very legacy brands, actually. So this brief here was a real brief that was sent to a creative director a good few years ago now. Show how eating chocolate makes you feel good. And when the creative director received the brief, he was actually on set for another campaign, and him and the crew were having a big debate. What's the greatest drum solo of all time? You see where I'm going with this one, right? So the creative director is like, got this new brief. Yeah, it's absolutely Phil Collins. So we pitched it, and the client said, let's get this right, Juan Cabral. You want to make an ad that's 3 times longer than normal ads, has got no Cadbury's chocolate in it, and no actual message. They thought I was mad, he said. But guess what? He persisted. The ad ran, and the ROI was 3 times normal. Cadbury's sales were up, and our friend Juan Cabral, he won a Cannes Lion Award. He said this: you have to go out and flirt and seduce. There has to feel like there's humanity there. The ideas that you want to share with your friends, it's because it looks like there's someone that's having fun. So if you forget absolutely everything that I've just said for the past 20, 30 minutes, which I assume you probably will when you're a few beers deep and whatnot, I just want you to remember one thing, okay? Just one thing. Just have some bloody fun with it, okay? It's literally it. Have fun with it. Thank you very much.